All right, a very good afternoon to you and you're welcome to the program. Good afternoon, Ghana, it is. And this afternoon we'll be, getting into some matters coming up. Monday, the 23rd of June, 2025. And today what I want to look at is how the fuel market is going. The Iran and Israeli war is still, at stake. It's still ongoing. And persons have done predictions, experts or industry experts have done predictions of what the fuel price behavior is going to be like. We'll get into the matter for you to, be on your guard and see what exactly are we to be expecting within that market space. We'll move from there and also get into some more details. Earlier on today, on Good Morning Ghana, we extended our doors or our discussion on the matter raised by Foreign Minister on the floor of Parliament last week. We've done the issues of the fraud, allegations that's been leveled against an individual who was working within the embassy. We've also looked at how to evacuate, or how the minister is put before Parliament of attempts to evacuate Ghanaians in countries, affected countries of war. We'll see, how is that also going to be effective? And we'll see if there's a possibility of that being done. And then we'll also get into, that's the news, that FBI is in Ghana. What exactly is the business of the US FBI in Ghana? We'll find out the facts and behind the figures, if really indeed they are here and why they're here. But for now, my colleague Michael Adote is standing by to bring us the updates of the stories, briefs that he has. Michael, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Annie. Good afternoon to you too. Right.
So let us have the stories of what you have.
All right. Let's go straight to our headlines for this afternoon. And Chamber of Petroleum Consumers warns rising tensions in the Middle East could lead to an increase in fuel prices. Also coming up in the bulletin, Managing Director of Tema Oil Refinery discloses the oil refinery will commence operations in October 2025. Also, 2 people have died and 3 others are injured following the collapse of a building at London Bridge, an area in Kotokraba, Cape Coast. As well as President John Dramani Mahama nominates 15 individuals for appointment as ambassadors, high commissioners and consul generals designates to represent Ghana in various countries across the globe. Details coming up shortly. Do stay. We are live on DSTV channel 277 and also streaming live on all our socials at Metro TV Ghana. Let's settle now for details of the stories. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has warned that rising tensions in the Middle East could lead to an increase in fuel prices during the first pricing window of July, according to COPEC. The ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel, intensified by recent U.S. airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites, is likely to have severe implications for global oil supply and, by extension, for fuel importing countries like Ghana. The possibility of Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz, a critical passage through which about 20% of the world's oil and gas is transported, has raised concerns of further disruptions in supply and price volatility. COPEC is urging consumers to brace for possible increases and is calling on policy makers to monitor global developments closely and adapt mitigation strategies to cushion the effects on Ghanaians. While the second pricing window of June provided relief for consumers, Duncan Amoah does not expect the trend to continue into the first pricing window of July. He also commended government for the decision to suspend the proposed One Ghana increment under the energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy. The executive secretary of COPEC is also asking government to get the Tema oil refinery back on its feet, even as management of TOR says it is on track to resume full operations by October 2025. Now, the managing director of Tema Oil Refinery, Edmond Combat, has disclosed that the oil refinery will commence operations in October 2025. Edmond Combat made the disclosure when he appeared before the Parliamentary Committee on Energy together with other officials of TOR to brief the committee on their mandate, work plans for the year 2025, as well as their operational challenges. In his presentation, the MD indicated that they will continue with the gantry and terminal upgrade. In addition, TOR intends to also complete ongoing projects commenced by the previous administration, as well as work on their debt and financial restructuring and the retooling of their laboratory. On his part, the chairman of the committee and MP for Ho West, Emmanuel Kwesi Bedra, noted that the engagement forms part of the committee's oversight responsibility of the agencies under the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. Mr. Combat appealed to the committee to help TOR resolve some of its challenges, including the restructuring of their debts with the ESLA receivables, converting Government of Ghana debts into equity, reinstating the TOR portion of the ESLA levy, allowing TOR to participate in the primary distribution margin, and giving TOR representation on the Laken community, among others. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has nominated 15 individuals for ambassadorial and consular positions with notable names, including veteran actress Kalsum Sinari and former Member of Parliament for Lada de Kotoponi Amasana Mwale. The nominations follow consultations with the Council of State and are the first batch of such appointments since President Mahama assumed office in January 2025. The list was contained in a letter dated June 10, 2025, from the Office of the President to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Kalsum Sinari, a household name in Ghana's creative arts industry, has been nominated to serve as Ghana's ambassador to the Kingdom of Spain, while Amasana Mwale, a seasoned politician and former MP for Lada de Kotopon, has been picked to represent Ghana in Brazil as ambassador to the Federative Republic. Known for his grassroots mobilization skills and strong ties within the party, his appointment is expected to deepen Ghana's engagement with Latin America's largest economy. To the central region, we're following a heavy downpour power on Saturday, June 21, 2025. A story building located in Cape Coast London Bridge in the central region collapsed, trapping about 5 people, with 2 feared dead. Personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service, the police and the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMOD, upon responding to the distress call and with the aid of excavators from the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly, successfully rescued the trapped victims alive, and they were transported to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Let's go to the phone lines now and speak with Bless Kwame Dake. He is the Central Regional Coordinating Director. Good morning, good afternoon, sir, and thanks for joining us on Good Afternoon, Ghana. Right. What's the latest so far as this development is concerned?
Yeah, so thank you very much. And as you indicated, last Saturday we had this disaster happening at a London Bridge, where an old building, story building made of bricks, located around the London Bridge, Ashanti Road, Cape Coast, collapsed. In actual fact, there were 5 people in the room, in the building, and 2 managed to escape. 3 were trapped. 1 young man was able to be retrieved. Unfortunately, we had 2 elderly people passing out. They were deposited at the Cape Coast Regional and Hospital as a result of that. What has happened was that after that, like you rightly said, we had a collaborative effort from the Ghana Police, the Fire Service, the NADMO, National Disaster Management Organization, the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly, as well as the Regional Coordinating Council, coordinating the affairs to ensure that the building was brought down to clear the place. As we speak now, the area has been cleared, all the debris have been removed to ensure safety of the pedestrians and passers-by and those who live around there.
All right. So interacting with the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana National Fire Service, and ADMO, what exactly have you been picking up as to the cause of this disaster?
Actually, it has to do with the quality of the building. It's a very old building made of bricks and which had no iron rods in there. And so the heavy downpour last Saturday actually soaked the material, the building material, and that led to the collapse of the building. And that is not, Cape Coast is a very old town. We have a lot of such buildings around, and precautions are being taken to ensure that such doesn't happen again.
Okay, so as the Central Regional Coordinating Assembly, what steps are you putting in place to ensure that the place is safe moving forward?
Yes, so moving forward in Cape Coast on that particular Saturday, and there was also another building around the Coronation Road, which was also a threat to the people living in there. In fact, that building was also near collapse. And so we had to take a drastic measure to ensure that that building was also demolished. There was also one that was also demolished around Brofiedu. So we've taken advantage of this and directed the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly to ensure that all such buildings that are not safe for human beings to get them demolished to prevent any of such disaster going forward, because the rains are not over yet, and so we do not want to expect that. We have also directed the NADMO and then the police and the security agencies to ensure that there's that rapid response team, effective rapid response team to save lives and property. And so they're putting in place the necessary strategies to ensure that areas where are prone to flood and also prone to such disaster, we take the necessary measures to prevent such.
All right. Bless Kwame Dake is the Central Regional Coordinating Director there, speaking to us there on a building collapse in Cape Coast over the weekend. Away to some other stories. Zuwaira Mohammed Ibrahim, Member of Parliament for the Salaga South constituency, has demanded an apology and thorough investigation from former ambassador to the US, Hajia Halima Mahama. Zuwaira Ibrahim also suggested that the actions of Mr. Fred Kwateng, which she described as rogue, likely involved a top official or insider. However, Dr. Ikuya Amwako, a member of the NPP's communications team, has urged and cautioned, advising against jumping to conclusions. Instead, she recommends waiting for the outcome of a full investigation. Dr. Amwako also criticized Foreign Affairs Minister Oku Blacks' handling of the situation, particularly his decision to briefly shut down the Ghana embassy in the US.
The first thing that a mission does, and for the reason why a mission is established, is to provide consular services to Ghanaians abroad. And so if Ghanaians cannot get this from the Washington mission, then the mission had serious questions to answer. The minister might have to, and now that the former ambassador herself has granted an interview, I think she has to be invited to explain. I wanted to say answer questions, but I think that's a little bit too harsh. She has to come and explain exactly what happened, so that all of that is captured.
Yes, because in the interview, she's almost rubbished everything, every finding
saying
that
it's
the
in
minister
his
has brought
mind
her.
that
Yes,
everything the
it's an
minister
imagination
is doing is his imagination. How can you speak like that? When there is evidence, documentary evidence, that the breaches didn't start in 2025. They started in 2019 when you were, no, she wasn't the High Commissioner then. She only went in 2021, I think. But before then, yes, she was not the ambassador in 2019. But clearly, these breaches happened at the mission. So you cannot speak and say that it's all in the head of the foreign minister. The foreign minister, I don't think, knew Fred Kwarteng for you to attempt to suggest that maybe he was going after Fred Kwarteng.
We all know that some of these embassies outsource some of the things that they do. Even in Ghana, VFS exists for a lot of these European embassies. Sometimes VFS also outsources some of their services. So let's not behave like it is very strange for the US Embassy to have outsourced its courier service. If there's a problem of conflict of interest or whatever, I'm sure the relevant investigative bodies will go through it and the truth will come out there. But let's not make it seem like it's some crime for the government of Ghana, or as it is the embassy in the US, to outsource the courier services. I don't see any problem with that. And the job was getting done. Recently, after the US Embassy was closed, there have been videos everywhere, I don't know if you've seen it, of Ghanaians complaining that their passports have been mailed to other people, and there's a lot of confusion and chaos going on there. So obviously, this whole matter has not only exposed some of the problems we have in our foreign service, but it has also exposed the foreign minister in his handling of the matter by closing the embassy, and I don't know how the courier service is being run now. Because not only were these passports delayed for weeks, longer than the people have been used to, some people's passports were sent to wrong addresses, which is a very serious problem.
Away to some other stories now. The Member of Parliament for Mampong, Kweku Amprochum Sapon, has dispelled claims that the MPs who declared support for Dr. Mamudu Bawumia were forced. The legislator, who is also the convener of the Members of Parliament for Bawumia, explained that not all the MPs were available at the time of their visit, although they have their names on the list of 65 members who have declared their support for Dr. Bawumia to contest in the upcoming presidential primaries.
Those who have declared, right, it was more than those who were in the room. The reason being that there were some of my colleagues who were at committee meetings, some had traveled, some were indisposed, and apart from, and therefore they actually sent in their excuse. And there were others who I would say have not declared and therefore are not on our books. But they have indicated about 5. I can talk of about 5 who have indicated that it's a 50-50 thing for them. 50-50, 50 is in the camp of the Bawumia. The other 50, they are not too sure. But then they all go on to say that they are urgent towards Dr. Bawumia. For me, tomorrow I'll be hitting the ground. I'll be in my constituency. I will start my community engagements with my constituents to go and sell Dr. Mamudu Bawumia and sell the party and sell the decisions that came out of National Council so that we prepare for our national conference on the 19th of July at Legon Stadium. And then also prepare for the 31st of January 2026, which was the date which has been fixed by National Council. And I want to stress that the date was not decided by the General Secretary. The date was not decided by the National Executive. The date was decided by National Council. Those who have declared support and on our books or have put their names down as having convincingly convince themselves that they are supporting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is about 65.
Ahead of the 2026 MPP presidential primary, former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has strongly condemned attempts by some individuals within the new Patriotic Party MPP to introduce tribal and religious sentiments into the party's internal contest for the 2028 presidential ticket, describing such tactics and as dangerous and divisive. Addressing the MPP constituency chairman caucus in Kumasi over the weekend, Dr. Bawumia urged party members to resist efforts to undermine the party's unity by appealing to religion and ethnicity in pursuit of political advantage. His comments come amid growing concern over the tone of internal campaigns following the MPP's loss in the 2024 general election.
We are a united party encompassing people from all ethnic groups, all religions, and we are part of the elephant family. It is therefore very important that we do not allow people, for the sake of political advantage, to break us apart as a party. I'm saying this because recently people are going religious and tribal. People are going religious and tribal. That is dangerous for the new Patriotic Party. It is very dangerous for us if you go in that direction. What is clear and is stated in black and white in the Oku report, as well as all the other studies, is that religion and tribe were not factors in the 2024 election results. They were not factors. They were not factors. So we should not try to inject to say that Christians will not vote for Bawumia. My 4.7 million votes, were there only Muslims who voted? It's not possible. There were all who voted for me. When Kufuor lost, did we say religion? When Mills lost, did we say religion? When Nana Akufo-Addo lost, did we say religion? No, that is not a factor. But people want to make it a factor for political reasons. For political reasons. If in fact that was the case, I wouldn't have contested at all. I would have stepped aside if that is the case, because I'm not a selfish person. I value the
Away from the MPP flag bearership race, now Ignite Media Group is partnering with Ram Media Concepts, organizers of the upcoming Ghana Fest Europe Trade and Cultural Exhibition, to promote bilateral trade in tourism at this year's edition of the fair, which is set to take place on the 23rd and 24th of October in Holland. There's more in this report.
Ghana Fest Europe Trade and Cultural Fair provides opportunity for Ghanaian businesses to scale up their products, services, and also expand their territories in their respective businesses or industrial sectors. International Event Management Consultancy Ram Media Concepts is optimistic this year's event will create the platform for Ghanaian businesses, especially small to medium-scale businesses, to interact with European counterparts and share business ideas among themselves.
Ghana Fest in Europe, specifically Amsterdam, is a special event put together by Ram Media Concepts to promote the brand Ghana. The idea is to ensure that Ghana gets a needed platform to, narrate its own story, talk about its own scenes, its own economy, the people, the culture. We don't sit here to expect someone to do that for us. So Ram Media Concepts came up with this idea to create this unique platform and to happen in Holland. Holland more or less being the center of Europe. That's where we have a lot happening. So this is massive.
Cultural lead for the project and chief of Asebu traditional area, Nana Obukesi, has urged business owners interested in exploring the opportunities and expanding their territories to participate in the event.
The program was actually launched last year with the then CEO of GTA, Akwesi Ajiman, the ambassador, all of them. And then this year is taking place. So Ghanaians everywhere should look out for this. If not registered, hurry up to register and then come join this.
Ram Media Constance is collaborating with Ignite Media Group, operators of Metro TV, Original TV, and Original FM to highlight key successes of the fair and its impact on Ghana's economy. The 2025 Ghana Fest Europe Trade and Cultural Exhibition, slated for October 23 and October 24 in Holland, will feature traditional music performances, exhibition of African products, stakeholder engagement, and many others.
Now, the government is taking bold steps to ensure the safety and well-being of workers across the country as it announces plans to introduce a comprehensive legal framework aimed at enhancing workplace safety.
The new legislation, which is currently under review, is expected to set clear standards, strengthen enforcement, and hold employers accountable for hazardous working conditions. Speaking to Metro News at the 2025 edition of Herz Awards, the Assistant Chief Inspector at the Department of Factories under the Ministry of Labour, Jobs and Employment, Emmanuel Fatoye Soya, says the move forms part of efforts to curb the alarming rate of workplace accidents and injuries, particularly in high-risk sectors.
The government is also trying to put in place the legal framework. That is our mandate as a regulator. What I know, the current law that regulates health and safety is being reviewed, and then even the labor law is also being under review. The state also commenced steps towards getting the state a national occupational safety and health policy. All these are all leadership steps that the state is taking to ensure that the legal framework that is required for us to have the best environment for practicing and managing health and safety is in place.
On his part, the event director of Herz Awards, Isaac Edujemfi, urged employers to adhere to factory protocols to safeguard employees' rights.
Is to change the narrative, of making safety more of a culture, a lifestyle, than it being about compliance. We want people to start acting rather than doing more of the talking. So the main objective is to get everybody involved, get everyone to understand their role in ensuring that we make health and safety a culture.
Joe Steve Annan, a senior health and safety manager at Anglo Gold Ashanti Obuasi Mines, who received a number of awards, emphasized that maintaining a safe workplace is a shared responsibility between employers and employees.
I think it's all about continual improvement, the leadership commitment to ensuring that we continually improve on what we do. Are you getting me? So in terms of health, safety, environment, and security, so we continually do what we do, look for opportunities to improve, fix it, and keep on improving.
At the prestigious event, 37 companies were recognized for their commitment to excellence in health, environment, safety, and security, with a climax of a launch of its leadership conference slated for July 31, 2025.
And that's it for the news segment of Good Afternoon Ghana. I'll now hand over to Annie Fwampofo to continue with the rest of the show.
Michael, thank you for the update, and I hope this week goes well for you and myself as well. Thank you for the details. All right, so that's the updates that Michael has brought, but we're also going to go into details of some of the issues that I've already mentioned. First of all, we're starting with the fuel prices or fuel pricing window. Just in case as Iran and Israeli war is going to be affecting global fuel prices. We'll get into that detail and find out what exactly Ghanaians are supposed to do and how it's actually going to affect government's policies. We'll also get into the issue of the foreign affairs matters coming up, persons who are supposed to be evacuated and those who also are involved in allegations of fraudulent activities within the Ghana Embassy in the U.S. We'll get into more of that. We'll try and speak with the former U.S. ambassador to the consular, and then we'll have some more information from there. Okay, some other more will also be added here on Good Afternoon Ghana. For now, we'll take a breather. We'll be back shortly.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
Smart, smooth, interactive, and a built-in Android active panel made for modern work and home. For corporate clients and university students, enjoy top quality 10th generation Toshiba laptops built for performance, power, clarity, and speed, all in one desktop. At Mycom JA Computers, get a laptop for as low as 1,000 Ghana cedis. All products are imported from the USA with a 1-year warranty. Visit Mycom JA Computers today and elevate your tech.
Some movies change the world, and you'll find them elsewhere. Mnet Movies 4 is just in it to change your mood. Great. They turn an ordinary night into something awesome. Make you laugh louder, smile bigger, and feel like a kid all over again.
Yay! This is gonna be so much fun!
The only thing our movies are seriously serious about is making you happy. All month long. On Mnet Movies 4 for the easy, cheesy, silly, funny, snort laugh classic movies of your life.
All right, you're welcome back to Good Afternoon Ghana. Now, let's get into the issues. I told you that we're going to talk about the issues of fuel prices in Ghana. And last week, we had a report from COPEC that was warning the country about a few issues when it comes to fuel prices. And I read it just a bit for us to appreciate where I'm coming from. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, has warned that rising tensions in the Middle East could lead to an increase of fuel prices during the first pricing window of July, according to COPEC. The ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel intensified recently as U.S. airstrikes on the 3 Iranian nuclear sites, and is likely to have severe implications for global oil supply and the extension for fuel importation to countries like Ghana. Now, Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary for COPEC, and he's joined us via the phone lines. He will speak to us about the issues. Duncan, thank you for your time, and good afternoon to you.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to you and your viewers.
Duncan, before we get into just the pricing, so far, when this government came into office, how have you monitored its performance as far as management of fuel availability for the people is concerned? How do you think they have performed?
Well, in terms of fuel supply and availability, you should give the credit to the bulk distribution companies for holding all of us down, even in times when your national assets, your national petroleum assets, don't have much or haven't added much. Private capital has driven all of us to this point. We've also seen some favorable pricing over the past 5, 6 months due to price wars by the BDCs and sometimes the oil marketing companies. The space has been good generally, although it could have been better. I keep saying one of the largest oil marketing companies, Guel, as of today, has refused to reduce their prices. That for me is also a worry. You don't see how even Shell and the likes are doing 11 Ghana cedi thereabout for petrol, and Guel is doing above 12 Ghana 30. So yes, it's been good generally, but there are still a few issues here and there that we must be looking at. But generally, like I said, the BDCs have done well. The oil marketing companies have done well. We are left with positioning what you would call national petroleum assets to also contribute effectively and efficiently to the petroleum security that we all desire, and then petroleum affordability that the Ghanaian would wish to see.
Well, with natural petroleum assets, I think Boss has hinted of, needing, I don't have the permission maybe to put the numbers out, but they have actually indicated how they need some investment in the company to help expand and boost its work in terms of reserves that it has to give to the country, even though petroleum is not probably supposed to be reserved for some lengthy period of time. But the amount that the country will need within a certain period of time, we need some investments itself in boost. What do you make of that?
Clearly, these are the things you would expect management and leadership to be focused thereon. Boss, since 1993, like I keep saying, when we were setting that facility up, the thinking wasn't for Boss to become a bulk trader or a BDC, to also focus entirely on just making profits. For which reason, Boss was not set up with private capital. It was Gulf funds that actually paid for the Boss tanks. And the thinking was that we were going to be able to have a certain buffer that could come to the aid of Ghanaians in geopolitical hot seasons or bullish times when prices are very high on the international market or they surge. Unfortunately, over the period, it has metamorphosed into a certain, private capital-driven assets that only focuses on we've made profit. I keep saying if you make profit at the expense of Ghanaians, you've done nothing. You could be efficient. You could be able to get your input-output numbers to correspond such that the good you provide is a social good and not a capitalist good that only, thrives on profit. And so, first would need to reposition. Some would say that they would need to go ahead and trade. I don't have a problem at all. But if your core mandate, which is to hold bulk oil storage, is defeated, and the thinking now is that let's go out there and trade like Viama, Maranatha, the other BDCs are trading, then clearly we've defeated why we even wasted money at all building those tanks. And then again, we also defeat why we continue to pay bust margin to maintain and expand the facility, which we have not seen any expansion for the past years. Something ought to give, and I think that their core mandate ought to be revisited and not be allowed to operate as though it is some private capital that set it up, and so it will need to post returns on that capital. Something is missing somewhere. And I think that this Iranian-Israeli conflict should be a wake-up call to authorities to reposition BOST completely, so that if tensions were to escalate and then the global supply pressures were to go higher or increase, and you needed a place you can actually fall on for a buffer, BOST should have been your first stop or first point. But as it stands, 0 liters for strategic stock. That should be worrying to anyone.
But there's also been, I'm not sure if BOST expands its network of operations. I don't know what point you want to make. Is there an issue? Because if the company has existed for some years, and maybe there's some clarity of things coming to the company, well, we can get into this area, get into this field, which is what is even rising, proposals that maybe BOST should merge with TOR.
Let me throw a little light on this. What I'm saying is this: we put out BOST, bulk oil storage, and then transportation to be a buffer for the Ghanaian, so that when there are shocks or price shocks globally, or there's a season where prices are simply rising, we could afford to say that as a country we planned for our people, because we even have stocks that we bought at the time that prices were low, and so without even importing additionally at very high rates or prices, we can still be able to get our vehicles moving without importing at a very high new prices. And so that is a first mandate. Then BOST would need to expand their facility or infrastructure. That is why we continue to contribute 14 pesos per liter and 16 pesos per liter for petrol and diesel, in order that they can be able to keep their facility running, and then also to be able to expand. Over the years, they've deviated that mandate. The new BOST that you and I have known the past 10 years is one that is focused largely on profits. And so if you look at their annual general meetings, the reports that are churned out, you only hear they were able to make a net profit of 300 million. And I say to myself, if you are making a profit of 300 million and I'm buying fuel for 17 Ghana cedis, of what use are used to me that I should continue to be paying you BOST margin? So something ought to give. That's all I'm saying. They need to revisit their core mandate. They need to reposition. We would need to have a conversation as to whether we'll give them something to be able to buy strategic stock, or we'll go take some money from the UPPF fund to be able to keep strategic stock, so that when there are seasonal lower prices that we can buy product and store, we do so. When the time comes for prices to go higher and we will need to fall on BOST to cushion the market, we should be able to do so without making BOST behave as though it is a private entity funded by private capital, and it would need to post, private returns, or as it were, profit, so as to make the shareholder or whoever did the investment in BOST a happy person. This is the Ghanaian, the trotro driver, the taxi driver, you and I that continue to fund BOST. And so we would expect that a certain social good would arise from their operations, and that social good we would expect to be expressly manifest in their holding of strategic stock for the good people of Ghana.
Right. So what, away from that, what do you think should be the short-term measures that should be put in place as far as geopolitical shocks are concerned?
One of them is what we've just discussed. You cannot continue to leave BOST to behave as though the only motive for which they exist is to make profit. They should be repositioning at this point. They should be looking for products, even from the Lome trial. If we can get cheaper products anywhere, we should be looking for some monies to, store products, because if the tensions are not to de-escalate and rather escalate, you may get to a point where prices could simply spike. And when that happens, because of the unavailability of strategic stock, you would then be asking the Ghanaian petroleum user or consumer to come and pay so high. Your failure to plan should not be an albatross on our necks. And I think that, like I indicated variously, both will need to be repositioned. Secondly, you have a couple of refineries. The thermal oil refinery is one. Central came in not long ago. You have Akwaba, you have Platon. You would need, as a country, to be deliberate, about helping them become operational. You cannot continue to have business as usual where you ground your refineries and then continue to invest money every month in European refineries or Asian refineries. 400 million USD will go and spend that money importing finished product monthly. If you have that money and you have your local refineries working, and we are even investing that money into those refineries, we will not only be creating jobs, we will not only also be sustaining or retaining the technical know-how in the refinery engineering space, would equally, as a country, be protecting our petroleum security, because it will get to a point where, passageways like the Straits of Hormuz, which is controlled externally, you cannot even pass there with your cargoes any longer. And when that happens, and Ghana is to get any kind of cargo from that region or Europe or anywhere else, and there's a geopolitical tension or challenge, you are simply not going to get a product. So need to pay closer attention now to your local refineries. Central, Temoil Refinery, Akwaba, Platon, and any other modular refineries that we have. Whatever support that the state would need to extend to them, I think we should be seeing that in earnest, so that these refineries can also contribute to your petroleum security. Then we can sleep a bit easier than depending on the international market entirely for everything that we consume down here.
So, I mean, back to the argument you were making, if these are the suggestions in terms of support for local refineries, would that not have been quite advantageous if BOST were making profits or was making profit? Then we can use all the funds we're raising, revenue coming in from BOST, maybe to support these local refineries.
Okay, so when we talk about profit, at whose expense? Because if I am making profits, let's say I'm Ghana Water Company, I am supposed to ensure water is available to the citizens. It should be available, it should be accessible, it should be affordable. And the last bit doesn't exist. It is very expensive, so not even affordable to the people because I want to make profit. You've defeated that social good. And so I insist that although BOST could be managed efficiently so that it doesn't post losses, if I buy product for $500 and I don't entirely want to make super profit and I can trade for 510, 520, in the minimum I should be able to recoup the 500, which is the full cost recovery of my trade, so that I don't make losses. But to say that I bought it for 500, BDCs are selling for 600, I'm also going to sell for 600 because I want to be profitable. The social good for which the social capital that we paid for your tanks in 93 would have been defeated consequently. And so I think that we should walk a fine line between expecting just profits. If your state institutions start putting profit ahead of the social good, you and I are doomed completely.
Okay, so what back to what you're saying they should do, what should the people also do? We had the Parliament or the Finance Minister giving us a notice of some 1% increment to ESLA, but what's withdrawn later on, maybe to observe the happenings over the period. We were expecting that prices would have been up by now. It's still not up. What are we to expecting? You projected into July that we expect that in the first week of July, maybe the pricing window will change a bit. So what's your observation now, and what should we expect as a people?
You would not have a situation where prices would decline again in July. It would most likely not happen. Prices are likely to go up, for which reason I support the government's earlier decision to stay the introduction of the one Ghana city levy that Parliament had, agreed to or approved. Again, one would expect that whilst thinking of getting a levy to go and pay for the power sector or ECG's inefficiencies or efficiencies, we'll be thinking along the path of sustainability for petroleum itself. If I'm taking one Ghana city and I'm giving 10 or 20 pesos to Tamayo refinery to be able to clean their books of whatever debt that they have, I will be programming TOR to come back, on a clean slate and give them a new lease of life. If I'm also collecting the money and saying that, of the one Ghana, I am applying 20 pesos to cost to be able to hold strategic reserve for the next 1 year, then I would be repositioning BOST. So we need to be deliberate as a people and as a government. I'm sure the people will not have a hesitation at all to contribute as far as developing a comprehensive strategic plan for the petroleum downstream sector is concerned. We will not have any hesitation at all. Unfortunately, we'll rather just collect the taxes, apply to whatever we want to apply to, and then the problems against which we continue to complain as a people, those problems continue to exist. We'll pretend to resolve them. We'll give political speeches. We'll give flowery and beautiful speeches. But at the end of the day, the problems are not seen to be solved, nor solved in its entirety. So, whilst we may be thinking of levies or taxes or asking the people to pay a little more for us to solve our problems, I think that the problems that persist within the refinery or the refining space, we should be looking at it. The problems that persist also with your strategic buffer, you should be interested in getting to resolve or address that also. Anything other than this, you'll be simply, you are failing to plan means you are planning to fail. And I'm not sure if times get very hard.
There was no proper thinking through the arrival of the decision to take one more cedi from the pumps, from Ghanaians, as it was earlier on communicated. So is there a likelihood of changes once government is, taking back its decision and probably is thinking through now?
You see, the thinking through could have been lopsided. One, there's a tunnel vision. We have this problem with the power sector. We need to fix it. At the same time, we forgot that there are also problems with the other sectors that we could, have a few pesos to help address or resolve. And so we would almost always call for what is holistic and what is okay.
Exactly. Right. So holistically, we'll probably have to involve all stakeholders to decide on what to do within the power sector itself. But as we speak, and as I'm speaking to you, every second, the debt that we have lying down is increasing. So government just must immediately, just to make our credit books look good, must immediately find money from somewhere, probably, which is why I think government pushed in the one cedi, taking advantage of the windfall.
Agreed. Something ought to give for the power sector to be sustainable. Government believed the one Ghana cedi could go to pay for light crude oil and then again to help pay the IPPs, whatever indebtedness we have with them. That is sound and good. Again, whilst collecting the money, if you do not stop the power sector from the things that causes the bleeding or the hemorrhaging, you are simply opening a valve, right, and pumping in water in a basket that is already, leaking so badly, and expecting the basket to get full. They won't. So you will need to address those issues holistically, which I think the energy minister is on top of that currently. If you recall, when he came to office, the power sector or the power distributor, ECG, was simply running 82 different accounts. Whatever they were doing with those accounts, only God knows. But how does any organization become efficient if your revenues are so sparsely spread, such that keeping track of even 10 accounts is sometimes difficult? Talk of 80 or 70 or 50. So clearly, it wasn't looking like a sector that were looking for efficiency or looking for optimization or maximization of the little revenues or assets or resources available to them. So whilst he is fixing that power sector leakage, that also allows ECG to import 100 containers and pretend nothing has come. Add another 200 and get to 300, they won't clear. Add 200, 500 containers, they won't even pursue to follow to know where the containers are. We import 1,000. Nobody is interested in going to clear the containers, and we keep importing 2,000. When you embark on some of these things, only to turn around a few months down the line or a year after to say that, oh, we are insolvent, we are broke, so the Ghanaian should come to our aid and pay more taxes, then you would leave the Ghanaian asking, what have you even done with the little revenues that are available to you? And that is exactly why a section of the Ghanaian population did a pushback with the One Ghana City levy. Not that we don't think it is okay for government to resolve the power sector issues, but if you are resolving at a rate that has a rather faster increasing rate of debt accumulation overhang, you are simply throwing money down an abyss, an endless pit, and you will not be able to, resolve the problem. Fortunately, the current energy minister seems to understand exactly what the problems are, and so we would continue to urge him not to only focus on collecting money, not to only focus on the financials of it, but focus also on the work culture, sound management practices, KPIs that you would need to deliver with these managers of your power sector. If they continue to abuse, misuse, right, the funds available to them, and they come back to us to ask for funds, I don't see how long you and I will contain this. But thankfully, there's a minister who has been a deputy, who has been a ranking member for Energy and Finance Committees of Parliament. I'm sure the issues are not new to him. He would be able to fix them, properly as we go. But whilst fixing the power sector, do not forget to also fix the refinery that has been left, idle, ailing, and unproductive. Do not forget also to reposition the bulk oil storage and transportation, because at this point, if you continue to have 0 liters for strategic stock, you are simply telling your people that into the hands of God you leave them. So whatever Israel, Iran brings, whatever the United States action and its, attendant revenge or retaliatory strikes from Iran brings, whatever international market delivers, the Ghanaian should sit here and pay for it. That will not be planning at all for the Ghanaian. That would be unfortunate. We also have on the price build-up a tax that is called the Stabilization and Recovery Levy. We often forget about it. The core idea for introducing that tax is to ensure that we create a buffer so that when you get to times where there are spikes, the government can sit with the importation market and say, look, okay, you are probably going to add 50 pesos. That will shoot prices very high. We don't want that to affect the economy. So we have X amount we can be able to assist you with. Don't pass on the increase to the people. That is what the stabilization was meant to do, and then part of it could have gone into paying for premix subsidy. Today, that fund is only paying for premix, and you wonder how much we are even doing with the premix as a country. What audits have we done?
But BOST has indicated that it is indeed, monitoring the pace and preparing to give us some more buffer. TOR has also indicated that it's going to start full operations, I think, by end of this month, not so?
TOR is asking for October, and what I know off the top of my head is that those promises have been one too many. I'm not talking of the current management or leadership. I would urge you to just do a short Google, promises on TOR. We're promising we'll bring TOR back on stream.
Right, you're right.
I remember in not too distant times was the former president, whilst commissioning Central Refinery, telling all of us from Central that he was going to get TOR back on stream. His administration has come to an end. TOR didn't work. A new government has come. TOR is still idle. A new leadership is in place, doing everything it can to bring the refinery back on the stream. But as to whether we are supporting them technically, financially, or managerially, as a people and the government, we'll wait to see.
All right. Should government, finally, should government does a new communication to us in terms of the tax that we have, to pay, or more money that we have to pay? Is there a possibility that this 1 cedi will increase?
No, government should do a thorough audit of the system. When you audit the power system, you'll be able to tell where your challenges lie.
Okay.
If you audit the petroleum system, you will be able to tell where your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, your threats are coming from. So you need a thorough audit of the system. What solutions would work for this system? You would need to be able to have all of them on a screen. And then you juggle them. Which one do I do? I mean, the short to medium term, which one do I put to the long term? Whatever decisions they come to, I'm sure Ghanaians will support them, but we would go for a more holistic, comprehensive approach to resolving our issues, as opposed to, oh, we are owing, let's go and collect money. Oh, this one has created debt here, let's go and collect money. You recall not long ago when there were rampant fires across, my old brother Muntaka was suggesting we go and collect money from petrol to go and buy fire tenders. That for me is ad hoc. Do a thorough audit of your system. Do an assessment of where you are likely to get funds from that you are probably not getting the money from already. See where you can increase something to get something to be able to offset something. Don't wait till the problems engulf you. Then you turn around to say, go and collect it from the petroleum user. That, unfortunately, over the years, seem not to have resolved anything at all. And we will go for a more holistic, thorough, well thought through approach in resolving whatever issues exist, both with the power sector and the petroleum sector.
All right. Duncan will live here. He's the Executive Secretary for COPEC. Duncan, thank you for your time. We're monitoring the progress with you. Thank you for speaking to us now. Let's move away from fuel issues. And as he's saying, government should do a holistic, check of the system, audit of the system itself, so that they know exactly where, which side is weaker, that needs some more, support. We'll now get into the international services or the diplomatic circles, where issues have come, of course, like I said, discussed earlier in the morning, where the the Foreign Affairs Minister has updated us on a few issues that has to do with fraudulent activities at the Washington, D.C. Embassy. There's also the issue that has come up with the attempt to evacuate Ghanaians who are fallen victims in the war-torn zones. And then also His Excellency, the President, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, has done a new appointment of ambassadors to many countries, and we'll get into that. But We have been joined on the phone lines by Zoom, by Fidel Amachi Owusuri, international relations expert, to also, deal with some of these matters that have come up where Ghana stands as a country. Fidel, thank you for your time, if you can hear me, and you're welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana.
Thanks for having me, madam.
So, Fidel, first of all, let's just get into the new appointments that have come from His Excellency, the President, persons that, are serving as a new list. From the list that we have been served with, what do you find interesting? Are we on the right path? Is the President done the right thing in terms of persons he has appointed? So we have Benjamin A. Kwashi going to Republic of South Africa. We have Kojo Bonsu is going to People's Republic of China. Kalsum Sinari, that's one of the appointments that seem to have surprised people. Kalsum Sinari Bafo to the Kingdom of Spain. Also, Hamid Rashid Tunde Ali, also United Arab Emirates. We also have Honorable Captain George Kofi Mfojo goes to Togolese Republic. And Grace El Mahmoud Marabe is going to United Arab Emirates, Dubai, and the rest continues. Your opinion, first of all, on the list.
Yeah, so thank you very much, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners. I would like to say that diplomatic exchanges or the exchange of representatives has been with the international community for a long time. In the Italian city-states in the 14th century, 15th century, the Italian city-states realized that in order to ensure stability in their relationship and in order to have very warm relationship among themselves, they needed to exchange ambassadors. And ever since then, all states have done this. So it is, first of all, incumbent on the president to do that. And again, the constitution allows him to make such appointments. My opinion on this is that, well, we don't have any criminal or any questionable issue or any questionable character amongst these nominees. So if we do not have that, then basically we would say that they are all qualified. But then others will look beyond qualification, as in the person has a clean sheet, the person is academically qualified, the person can indeed represent the country and its interests. After that, people will also look at the gravitas of the person. That if this person is in the capital of the receiving states, what he or she is likely to do. Is the person able to exert that influence in the name of representing the country, or the person may not be able to do so? So these are some of the things. Again, we must not also lose track of the fact that the ambassador does not work alone. He or she is going to be supported by a whole staff, some of whom are career diplomats, who are going to support him or her in order to execute his or her duties. And so that is also something that we must take cognizance of. So it does not all boil down to the individual, but then his as I said, gravitas matters, and we also have to talk about the fact that there is going to be a supporting staff for such a person.
So far, so good, I guess. I mean, they will be taken through. They are not career diplomats, at least on the list. I dare say none of them is a career diplomat, but of course, now going to pursue political, diplomatic agendas. And so we'll see that they will be well educated, in the offices where they have been appointed. What are the areas that you advise that they take a good look at when they are appointed, because they are literally new in the space?
Yeah, so economic diplomacy, very important for a country that is very conscious about its economy. Ever since the president came in, he's been able to do a lot in respect of the economy, and so they should be they should take economic diplomacy very seriously. So if you're going to Spain, Spain has a lot of things that Ghana can benefit from, and vice versa. How do you sell what we have? And what we call the double coincidence of wants, looking for someone who has what you have and wanting what you have. So that is something important to do. So economic diplomacy, and then cultural. And that is where I think that the actress comes in. That if we're able to encourage cultural exchange between Spain and Ghana, it is going to be very beneficial, or is going to be of mutual benefit of the two states. And so these are some of the things. Mr. Kojobosu did very well when he was with Goyle and I think other state institutions. And I think that China is one of the countries that Ghana has very warm relations with and is the largest trader with Ghana in terms of economic international trade. And so he has a lot of work to do. When in Beijing, he's supposed to look for areas of mutual interest, how we promote economic activities between the two states. So that is how it's going to be. You look at what is available and you make the best of it. Other than that, it will just be mere representation. So I think that the president does not expect anything less. And as representatives, they should just put Ghana first in all their interactions. That's my advice.
So far, the ones who have been okay by history, do you think that our appointees have done us a lot of good in terms of economic benefits, exchange of businesses and stuff like that?
Yeah. In the last time President Mahama was in government,
and my question is just stemming from my observation over the period. I haven't seen really any major economical benefits that we get, for want of better expression, we get from the countries that we're repping or that we are situated in.
Yes. So, all right, sorry about that. Yeah. So we receive a lot of leaders in this country. Now, when we receive them, we don't see the ambassadors that much. That is the issue. So much of it is a backroom work or behind the scenes. Because you work in the capital, in Madrid, you work in Rome, you work in Washington, D.C. But then when Trump decides to finally visit Ghana, you may not be seen on the screen. So mostly the ambassadors do the background work. And then when it's time for the routine to be done, the president, we have our president either going there or they are coming here. And these economic partnerships and other deals that are signed are as a result of some of these backroom work done by the ambassadors. So whenever there's a hierarchy, they are under the foreign minister. So whenever these things are happening, we don't often see them. They attend all the state receptions, and during this reception in the capital of the receiving state, they make good contacts, discuss a lot of things. It involves so much. It's not all about maybe being on the screens. You have to also know how to make the right contact. And when the backroom work is done, we see the optics often done by the president or the foreign minister. So the ambassador does not really seek to take glory, so to speak. But there's something else. We should not also forget the fact that all over the world, ambassadorial appointments are also part of the political gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when people have supported you during your elections, sometimes they are awarded with ambassadorial representation.
Right.
That is not to say that those who have been appointed are people in that category, but I would like to say that we can have people like that. And however, that does not stop them from doing or pursuing the interest of the Republic of Ghana when they are posted.
Right. All right. I guess maybe as the foreign minister is actually doing exactly what you're talking about, some of the updates he has provided, it seems as though it is coming directly from his office as a foreign minister. Right. Anyway, okay, so as we're talking about this and the appointments, we have this issue again from the foreign ministry's desk. Pursuing an issue that has to do with the fraudulent activity that happened in the Washington, D.C. office. We have gotten the former ambassador to speak with very soon. Halima Mahama, Honorable Aja Halima Mahama will join us and then give us some explanation. She has done us the honors to give us a contract that the government or the office signed with this company that the Honorable Minister is also talking about. But your first, response and comments on what the minister has done so far. Last week, he updated Parliament.
Yeah, so this is worrying because I don't have all the facts apart from what is in the public domain. However, I think that if this really went on in Washington, D.C., then I would doubt that the United States is not aware of this. However, they may not be able to intervene due to the principle of extraterritoriality, that where embassies are located, the host state is not doesn't have that control over the activities of the embassy. But if the U.S. There was actually some fraudulent activities and the U.S. knew about it, it's quite embarrassing, because then it means that the host country is going to see the home country in a different way, that to see you to be corrupt, to be working with fraudulent people or people who are into fraud and things like that. So it's really a matter of national concern. And if such things are really happening, then it's good that the minister has really taken it on, and we hope to see something very substantive happening in terms of what those who will be held into account and those who are culpable, if it really did happen.
Having been in this space, have you seen any happening of this nature or any report of this nature? I've been searching to see if I will come across a report of this nature since the story broke, and I haven't come across one yet, unless maybe you have and I don't know of.
Yeah, you know, a lot happened.
I mean, I know about people who try to do visa connections, you know, try to help people to get visas, to get their forms filled in. There are people who just do a 1, 2, 3 somewhere in the corner. But such in its magnitude haven't been reported by the minister. Have you heard something of this nature before?
No, not of this nature. But we've had issues of kidnappings in embassies, Israel, Rwanda, and other countries that want to pursue their national interests have kidnapped people and put them into diplomatic pouches to really bring them back home for justice to be done and things like that. These have been other scandals. But in terms of things of this nature, of this magnitude, involving millions of dollars, I think that maybe this is the first one that I've heard here. Or I can say that other countries may experience it, but they will not like to put it in public domain. But I mean, full disclosure is very important, so that next time we know how to do the right thing. Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's go on to the phone lines and speak with the former ambassador to the U.S. As well, Honorable Halima Mahama, and she was basically in that consulate. Let me just, give you some updates of a contract. First of all, let me welcome Her Excellency. Her Excellency, you're welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I told you earlier that I actually listened in to your interview with multimedia and heard a few things. But had you been following what the foreign minister had been giving or updating the public and parliament over the period, did you follow it?
Not after my interview. Before my interview, what he said in parliament, yes, I followed that. I heard him.
Okay, can you speak up a bit for me so that I can...
No, I'm saying that not after my interview, but what he said in parliament, I heard him. And that's what I've been responding to.
Okay, all right. So now I have the contracts that the embassy signed with the Ghana, with the company in question. And then it says that Travel Ghana, Secure Data Center, and then General Contract for Services. It says that this contract for services, this contract is made effective as of January 1, 2023 by and between Embassy of Ghana the address is there, let me jump that, and Travel Ghana Secure Data Center for 438, and the address is also there. Now in this contract, the party who is contracting to receive services will be referred to as the EOG and the party who will be providing the services will be referred to as the TG/SDC. Now, just basically tell me how this contract came about. I'll ask you a follow-up question after your response.
Okay, but let me start by saying that I heard the minister, and there are two sides to what he's saying. Minister's decision to conduct an investigation about some practices being problematic. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. Every new government decides to review certain things, and I have no problem with that. With that specific thing, when the report investigation is done, I will encourage that the investigation should be done. I would like it to be done. If there are some specific issues that I have to respond to, then I'll respond to them. So that's one side. I have no problem with the investigation. But my concern is the minister's statement in Parliament that I signed a contract that sought to legitimize palpable wrongdoing. So that's what I'm going to talk to. The contract I signed with the company that you just mentioned was to get the company to provide the spice services for people, applicants who decide to choose the services of the company. It was optional. It was not mandatory. If they choose their services, fine. Then they will click and go to them and conduct their business there. And what were their services? To retrieve their passports that the visas have been issued on, or the passports that have been issued, and ensure that they dispatch the passports to them. So they're taking this responsibility for the applicants. The other option would have been for the applicants to send a self-addressed envelopes to the embassy, or tell the embassy will pick up. Some people within the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, they come to pick up. And those options too are there. So this particular contract, Ghana government does not incur any expense. We do not pay $1 for that matter for this particular contract. And the applicants have a choice to do that. And it's stated clearly in the contract. And Ghana government too has also stated clearly that we are indemnified if there are some issues arising from this relationship that the applicants conduct with the company. It's the responsibility of the company to follow through, track through, and ensure that they deliver. If they don't deliver, they can be charged by the applicants. Ghana government has not come in. And further on, I want to explain clearly that this service that we ask the company to go on doing is not service that Ghana government does. Ghana government is not involved in dispatch business. We don't do business. We don't receive any monies for people for their dispatch. They send in their self envelope. I bet the driver will just drop it at the various stations. Ghana government is not, and has never been in that business for that matter. So he who decides to use the services of the applicants sets up their relationship with the applicants. Embassy did not give him a contract to do any other thing apart from dispatch of passports that in which visas have been issued. That's all. And it's not a job. It's not as if he's taking a job from the embassy and therefore he's taking money that would have come to the embassy. No, we don't. Embassy is not involved in that in the courier services business.
Any other services that this company offers an applicant, that is not the business of the embassy. The embassy does not send people to go and conduct other services with the company. It's only with the courier services that the embassy, contracted the company to engage in.
That's the situation. Thank you. That's it. Clearly, that's the situation. Hello.
But,
yeah. That's the situation. It's only pick up passports that we have issued or passports that we have issued the visa in and dispatch. And you only pick them after the applicant has opted that they want to use their service. That's all.
So when the applicant opts to use your services and maybe in the end the passport is not, it gets lost along the way, it doesn't get delivered and all that, who takes the consequences?
As part of the services, they set up a verification and a tracking system. So the company will have to then track the process where the passport went. And if it is the main courier service, FedEx, UPS, or whatever else, they will contact them and ensure that they retrieve the passport, or ensure that UPS does the right thing. And I understand. This is something I know, but I can't give the facts and figures. Sometimes people have had problems and they have made claims on FedEx and have been paid for other loss of passport or some other delays that they think they deserve to be compensated for.
So, should applicants seem to be having some quasi-agreement with a second party?
Yes. They choose to have that agreement with the second party.
Are they aware of this?
Yes, when you fill a form for passport, for visa, it's there on the embassy website that you have the option to send your self-addressed envelope with the right postage, everything. And when everything is completed, embassy will mail it to you. You also have the option of using a company, link up with that company so that the company will dispatch your document to you. And some people will call to say, look, I'm picking up, I'll come and pick up my document. So I'll follow up to find out, I'll call to find out when the passport is issued or when the visa is issued, and I pick up. So those are the three options.
Okay, so with this contract that was signed, was it an annual renewable contract, or it was for a period of maybe 3 years? Because this was signed in 2023.
We stated clearly that it is on until the embassy decides otherwise. So it could be abrogated anytime.
All right. Now, are you aware of who owned the company we signed with? And that is
yes.
Ghana Travel Ghana Secure Data Center.
Yes.
Who owned it?
Fred Quarton, in partnership with others. Fred Quarton.
So when you got into office in 2021, did you take retrospective reports of maybe possible issues Fred Quarton himself had gotten himself involved in? Because we also have the internal query of Fred Quarton having tampered with the IT systems of the embassy and was queried for that. We haven't seen his response of the query. Are you aware of all those issues that came up?
Yes. Quarton has been working with the embassy on and off on a retainer basis since 2013. But this patch of passport business transaction started in 2019. Prior to that, or around that time, he was also, before Ghana went completely digital, and he since provided the application form online for people seeking visas to fill online. The ambassador then, I was informed, asked Fred Quarton to develop an online application for visa, an online form for visa application. And he did, and posted it on the website, and added certain things for feedback. That if people fill the form and they have any issue, this is an opportunity for feedback. So he was queried on that. He was queried on providing extra things on the web, but not because he was instructed to form develop the online application form. Yes, he was curious on that, and I had the information. But
so the letter actually read. So the letter read, it has come to the notice of management of the embassy that in September 2019, you modified the embassy's website in respect of visa passport acquisition process without necessary express approval. So having done that without an express approval, that was a criminal activity.
Yes, I'm saying that this was 2019, and the feedback I got when I went to the embassy and I asked what happened, I was told that they had a meeting, management meeting, with the head of chancellery who provided that query, the head of consular service, and the ambassador then for explanation. And an explanation was given, and they proceeded.
So the ambassador gave the explanation and vindicted.
That was the issue. Yeah.
Okay, so he sought to make Fred Kwarteng look clean at the time you got in.
Yes, at the time I got in, I'm not. What's her name? Annie, right?
Yes.
I'm not here on phone to defend Fred Kwarteng or say this or that about Fred Kwarteng. Mm-hmm. I'm coming to tell. I'm here to accepted your interview to say clearly that what the minister said, that my contract purported to legitimate probable wrong, was totally false. And he further on went to talk about monies being spent to the tune of 4.8 million. And we said that it's false. And they can do the investigation. I'm open them to that. But I'm not here to say that how many years interaction that Fred had with the embassy, this or that, or when I went, he was free. I think done that investigation.
Yeah, I haven't really sought the clarification from the minister, but I want to believe that he came to that conclusion because Fred Kwarteng, by history and by the documents before him or on his table, was involved in other issues which he didn't expect you to extend or sign a new agreement with him, which is why we're here today.
Yeah, what does that agreement say? That agreement, in any case, if you look at the face of that agreement, I'm emphasizing, signing of that agreement did not in any way make Ghana government lose a cent.
Okay.
It did not in any way make Ghana government lose a cent. He was to take passports despite the passports. And there was a history to that. It facilitated the work of the embassy. It didn't make Ghana government lose a seat. That's the point I'm making. And I will emphasize on that point. If they do their investigations with on his work with the embassy on that, I have no problem with that. But where he says that I signed a contract that purported to legitimize probable wrong.
Yes.
And further on went to talk about 4.8 million, which is false. That's where I'm addressing. Those are the two issues I want to clarify.
Yes, he said 4.8 million Ghana cedi. Ghana was losing annually through the hands of Fred Kwarteng's company.
Through what means? If they just throw in statements, would have given where from the 48 and how did that happen? I mean, he needs to come out with more. If it is Ghana government embassy, we only have 3 revenue avenues: fees for visa applications, fees for passport, fees for visa issuance. That's one. Fees for passport issuance and attestations. Like some people, if they come for witnesses of documents or witness cops to be brought to Ghana and all those. That's all 3 areas, period. There is nothing for fees for dispatch. We don't involve in that. We don't do that.
Okay, so you said you listened to his statement, but let me okay, allow me just read an excerpt. Let me see if you'll be able to identify. Since you listened to him, he said that following the COVID-19 pandemic, the mission adopted a fully online mailing system for visa and passport dispatch managed by Fred Kwarteng Under this arrangement, applicants were offered delivery options via FedEx and UPS for the USPS, for which they were charged a whopping $29.75 each. Additionally, GTC also aids applicants in completing visa and passport forms for a fee of $60 to $100 per an applicant. Mr. Speaker, it will interest you to know that 99% of all applicants utilized the GTC, meaning 99% of all applicants paid an extra $29.75. Investigations also revealed that GTC dispatched between 150 to 350 visa passports daily. Therefore, on the average, about 250 visas passports were dispatched daily by GTC.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
The embassy does not do up to 200 visas a day. We don't. So it's not even true that you can. But let me hear your specific question.
How many do they do?
We have right now we have a new application software called Tanzuna software, and it's kind of slow. We can't do more than 120 a day.
100 a day.
20, yeah. Maximum 120 a day. So we are not able to do 200 a day. So first of all, that is false.
So even the figures, Honorable
the
Minister,
statement that he made. What is your question on that statement?
You were asking how he came to the conclusion that Ghana was losing about $48 million annually to the company. And I just read an excerpt of his breakdown of the findings that he followed through.
Maximum passport, the maximum visas that we issue in a quarter, not more than 12,000. So in a year, the highest we can ever do 48,000. And we don't even do 48,000 all that time. And we charge between $100 and $200, depending on whether single or multiple visa, expedited or ordinary service. So if you take 48,000 passports, which will never reach. So if you take 48,000 passports and multiply it even by his 29.35, you will not get 4 million. You will not get 3. You will not get 2 million. You will not get 2 million. So I'm wondering where he's got that figure from. If he is looking at what is stated that he's charging for documentation support, I cannot talk to that because that is not my contract. That's not the contract that we gave him. We didn't even contract to do any documentation support. I'm talking about what the embassy said he could do, pick passport and dispatch after we have issued the visa in the passport, pick them and dispatch. Or after we've issued a passport, pick and dispatch. That is what the embassy is concerned. If he was doing documentation services, that is between him, his company, and the individuals who go there. Documentation service in the US is very popular. So if you're doing it, it has nothing. What I'm trying to say is that my contract did not give him any sex service. My contract just said, pick up passports and dispatch. And that is optional. People who click and decide that they want to use private service, their passports, you can pick them up and dispatch. People who use self-addressed envelope, the embassy will just send the driver and they will take them to the FedEx or whichever courier service that is asked for. People who say they want to come to the embassy to pick up, we hold them, they will call. If my visa ready, we say yes. They say, okay, can I come and pick up? Yes, come this time and pick up. They come and pick up. So whatever
was the embassy's work that effective? There were a lot of complaints also coming from, not just the Washington, but other embassies where there were, too many issues of Ghanaians complaining they were not receiving their passports were getting missing and a lot of that. Did you record most of them?
For the 3.5 years that I was there, those complaints ceased. And
they seized
those complaints. Were very minimal. I don't have, in the past, they would even come and demonstrate, make a lot of issues on that. There were no problems when I was there. And that's why 2023, I decided to formalize it, at least have a document. So passport services, delivery services improved in the embassy.
Did you see, you talked about auditing, that you don't know why, and you thought that it's his imagination that he was probably using to call some of the figures. But he also stated that about 2 years ago, the Auditor General raised concerns that was stemming from that particular embassy, the Washington, D.C. Did it also come to your table? It says that the investigation also revealed that Auditor General's office raised concerns about the embassy's operations and financial management some 2 years ago. Specifically, the audit findings highlighted issues with procurement practices and financial accountability, which seemed to have been ignored or inadequately addressed. And 2 years ago, you were in office.
If he raises that issue, we have to look at the auditor's document. When auditors come to an embassy or any ministry for that matter, they come and look at the processes, and they have a management report, and they will advise, do this way, do this way. There were some issues that they will come and at the end of their term, they will provide, at the end of their function, they will provide a report. And we will sit with management and they will take us through it. It wasn't a perfect system. Sometimes they'll say this and this and this and correct us. But it wasn't an issue that was so overbearing that auditors could do that. No, it wasn't a big issue. For example, they will say in procurement in Ghana, you should have 3 invoices. And we will then tell them that, and we will explain to them that in the US, it's very difficult to get 3 invoices. When they prepare an invoice, they charge you for it. And for them, preparation of invoice means we have offered them a contract. So sometimes we have challenges in that regard. But this has nothing to do with what he's talking about the contract that I gave for dispatch of documents. And as I indicated, the services have been going on. He's been dispatching documents since 2019. I observed, management briefed me, and they were for it. We even had reviews, and everybody was for it. So 2021, 2022, 2023. I said, look, why don't we have some documentation clearly? And I'm even interested in the indemnification clause for embassy, so that if a passport is lost or damaged, you will be held responsible. The client will hold you responsible. Those were the issues.
So having that clause, in the contract, you may have done some background checks on Fred Kwarteng before signing this agreement with him.
Specifically on the dispatch, yes. For the dispatch, it was going on well. I had no problem with the dispatch.
And you were satisfied with his delivery, or his outputs?
I cannot talk about everything of the embassy.
Yeah.
I would say everything of the embassy was perfect, but I'm talking about specifically the contract that he mentioned. And I'm saying, I went there 2021, he was providing this dispatch services since 2019. 2019, 2020, 2021. When I went there, the management came to convince me that it is effective. And I say the management, the head of chancellery, the head of consular service, and the administration, that the mailing system is effective for us in the embassy. I said, fine, let me observe. 2021, it was going on, 2022. I said, yes, but he's doing this mailing system. There's nothing on paper. Let's put something on paper. You never know what will happen, and Ghana will be held responsible. That was the essence of it all.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay.
Just
that's the essence of it. But if you want to talk about, there were issues in the embassy, do his investigation and sort out the issue. But for him to say my contract cost something, no, in fact, he is rather probably wrong. He is probably wrong, probably false. So that's the point I want to make.
I'm sure the investigation will, help all of us. But the
yes,
maybe the final issue I want to raise with you. He said that in 2020, the ministry entered an agreement with EMH Global, which was renewed in 2024 to standardize websites of selected missions, now including the Washington mission. However, these attempts were rebuffed by the Washington mission to avoid accountability and transparency. So within that period, the Washington DC website, which was 2020, when you were not there, was not allowed, the office did not allow the EMH Global to enter the website and do the standardization as required by the Ghana government.
EMH Global, they developed the new online visa application form. And that's what the Washington now about the specific website. They sent the message to the embassy that they will come to do the website. And agreed, come in. And they haven't. They had not come to do it yet.
All right.
And I never told ESIMS or wrote to ESIMS that no, don't come to do it. We said come and do it. So that's also another falsehood. If they didn't come to do it, they are residents in London.
No, it was actually in 2020, not 2021.
Yeah, but I'm saying I was informed that ESIMS will come to do it. We said yes, come and do it, but they haven't come to do it.
Yeah.
But we are working with ESIMS because we are using the visa application online form that was developed by ESIMS. That's what is on the website that we are using.
All right. Her Excellency, if you don't have any more comments, I'll leave it here. I'm grateful for your time.
My main point is that visas, passports are issued, passports are issued, and all that they do, and my contract says is pick them up. It was a process since 2019, pick them up and dispatch. And applicants have an option to do that. And Ghana government does not receive monies. We don't benefit financially from such dispatch. We don't benefit from such dispatch. So we cannot lose money because a dispatch service is done by a different company. It's not done. And if you're talking about documentation service, it's not a service that was part of the contract. It's not. So that's a different matter. And there are a number of companies doing documentation service for people who want visas in different embassies, including Ghana embassy. The embassy has nothing to do with that. We just want you to fill your form, submit your form, get your visa. If you want to pick it, fine. If you want to send a self-addressed envelope, we mail it to you. If you choose a company to do the dispatch for you, that is your business. That is all. We don't pay. For example, somebody drives in to pick up the form, to pick up the visa, the passport. We don't pay you a lot of fare. So there's nothing like monetary relationship between the embassy and anybody or any company with respect to dispatch of passports.
Your Excellency, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Her Excellency Haja Alima Mahama is the former ambassador to the Embassy of Washington in the United States. I still have Fidel. I was going to say U.S. Amachi. Fidel, thank you for still sticking with us. Thank you. So you've listened to the talk with the former ambassador, and this is what she says.
Well, it's good. I would urge Her Excellency, as she has agreed to wait for the investigation to finish, because according to her, she cannot speak to everything that happened in the embassy. And I agree. There are times I have collaborated on projects with some embassies in Accra, and I never met the ambassador, him or herself, but met officials who are working on such projects. So the ambassador is not all knowing, is not all seeing to know everything. So that should let her wait, because certain things may come out or may emerge and she'll be surprised. Because often when you think that you are in charge of things, you may not actually be in charge. There are people, you went to meet people there, and when cabals are established in institutions and in offices, sometimes as a new entrant, whether you are the number one or you are the overall boss, you are going to be in oblivion with something.
Especially when in the contract, you have her name there, Services Reception Embassy of Ghana, her signature, Her Excellency Ajia Alima Mahama, the ambassador, signed to the contract.
Yeah. Yes, so you may sign the contract, but you may not know what actually went on in terms of certain fraudulent activities and how people will take advantage of the situation to use the embassy to pursue interests that do not inure to the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian or to the interest of Ghana. So all these things would rather inform us that she would wait for the investigations to finish. If she's going to respond to everything that the minister or the briefing that the minister may come up with, then she will be doing that for quite some time, and it could complicate the situation for her, because no matter what, the buck stopped with her in Washington, D.C. And so if something went wrong, then we can only wait for the investigations to finish and then people who are found. The other thing is, there was the issue of supporting with documentation and courier services. These are not the same. Courier services or dispatch services, you pick the object and then you drop it where you've been asked to drop it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the support for documentation or documentation support, it comes with a whole lot. And I've had instances where some European countries use the VFS in Opavia for such services. And sometimes you go there and there are some services you know that you can really do it, but there are others standing by to do it. And sometimes when you want to do it on your own, the body language and the psychological play or psychological game at play over there can really be frustrating. When the minister was sworn into office, that was one of the places he went to actually engage with them to stop such frustrations. So these are some of the things. Is it the same thing that was happening in Washington, D.C.? If it did, then it's painted Ghana in a bad way. And we will not sit by for such things to be happening. So I think that we should allow the investigation to go full-fledged. If people are innocent, they are innocent. And if they are guilty, they are guilty. And the law will take its full course.
Fidel Amachi Owusu, I'm grateful as well for your time this afternoon. Thank you for joining the stream. And next time we have some clarity, we definitely will come to your desk. And he's an international relations expert, helping us understand some of the matters that have come up, but we're also following through. This is what time will allow us for now. We'll give you some more updates subsequently on the Metro News Night at 7. Join us to give you some more news updates. For now, we'll pull the brakes here on Good Afternoon Ghana. My name is Ania Fampo. Thanks for watching.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
I'm a branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Climate change, particularly scary for the younger generation. And this fear is paralyzing. They feel helpless and vulnerable. Climate anxiety. Are there ways out of this powerlessness?
Tomorrow Today. In 30 minutes on DW. Thinking as a network, acting as one. A show about visionaries and their projects. Challenges that can be tackled together for a future worth living. Working for a more united world. Global Us. In 90 minutes on DW.
If you like history, but with a side of culture, travel, and controversy, this one's for you. I'm Rachel Stewart, and I'm hosting a podcast that will put the wow factor back into your everyday life. Every day, we encounter so many things that we don't even notice anymore. They just kind of fade into the background. But if you stop and shine a spotlight on them, what you see might just surprise you. We're going to dig up the dirt on the everyday things around us. Where did they come from? How and why did they evolve over time? And why should we care? Just search for Don't Drink the Milk wherever you listen to podcasts.
They've taken the hoods off. They've pulled out the guns. This is a war. Our mother, she spent her whole life fighting against discrimination and against racism and was killed by a white supremacist.
Right-wing extremists. They are ruthless and getting younger.
These young people are radicalized in social networks and trained politically.
They are connected worldwide.
They call themselves nationalists, but they are internationalists. They want to spread their ideology across many nations.
Willing to do anything.
All they want is more war.
And their number is on the rise.
There's hundreds more, probably thousands. Yeah, I think they're out there.
Worldwide Hate starts July 12th on DW.
This is DW News coming to you live from Berlin. Israel targets Iran's Fordo nuclear site with a fresh series of strikes. The attack comes a day after the U.S. bombed the uranium enrichment facility. Israel says it struck roads around the plant to obstruct access. The UN's nuclear watchdog says Sunday's U.S. bunker buster bombs likely did very significant damage to the Fordo nuclear site. And the EU's foreign affairs chief calls for a diplomatic solution to the conflict as Iran threatens to close the Strait of Hormuz. Hello, I'm Terry Martin. Good to have you with us. Defense Minister Israel Katz says Israel is carrying out unprecedented strikes against what he called Iranian agencies of government repression. He confirmed that Israel had hit